to ban the export of fresh tomatoes. The move, which will take effect from March 30, 2026, is already sending shockwaves through markets across the country. Authorities in Burkina Faso announced the indefinite suspension of fresh tomato export as part of efforts to prioritize local processing and ensure adequate supply for domestic industries. My colleague Sixtus Don Ulo, he joins me in the studio with a joint statement issued by the Trade and Agric Ministries of Burkina Faso. Sixtus, thank you for joining us. What do we know in the statement?
This statement was issued on the 16th of March. That is some 3 days ago. And they have said a number of things in the statement. And as you rightly pointed out, it's issued, signed by two ministries. The Ministry of Agriculture, Water, Animal Resources and Fisheries, and also the Ministry responsible for Industrial Development, Commerce and Crafts. So they have effectively placed a ban on the exportation of raw tomatoes or fresh tomatoes. And the reason is that they want to feed their industry first. The opening statement says, economic operators and the general population are hereby informed that in order to ensure the supply of national processing units, the export of fresh tomatoes is suspended throughout the national territory until further notice. Now, the good thing is that it's not immediate. They have given a 2-week window within which the people who have already secured permits and have already probably initiated processes of exporting fresh tomatoes to be able to clear that. And that is captured in the statement. If you go to paragraph 3 of the statement, it says that economic operators who hold valid export authorizations for fresh tomatoes have a period of 2 weeks from the date of signature of this communique to complete their export procedures. After this period, the authorizations will be considered null and void. So where you are unable to do this and you go ahead to export or attempt to export and then you are caught, it says that goods would be seized. So if you're a Ghanaian trader in Burkina Faso and you have processed, you have not been able to get out of Burkina Faso within the 2-week window, beyond that you are unable to move the goods. You can come back, but your goods will remain there.
Will be seized.
Will be seized. And they say they will seize the goods and hand them over free of charge to industrial fresh tomato processing units established under the framework of popular shareholding. And that is exactly what the statement says. You lose your goods and the money as well.
Sixtus, thank you so much. Let's speak with Nana Ajanin Boateng. He's a leading member of the Tomato Transporters and Traders Association. Nana, thank you for joining us. This is some disturbing news for Ghanaian traders, is it not?
I'm most grateful. It's very, very disheartening because as a whole country, Ghana, now we have better weather than Burkina Faso. We have better rainy season than Burkina Faso. And we must go to Burkina Faso to import tomatoes before we can consume. It's a shame to the whole nation. And they've given the ultimatum.
And based on what is happening, Nana, what options do we have?
The only option we have in Ghana is that we must take our agriculture as a priority. We shouldn't depend on importation. Tomato farming. We have able farmers who are very fascinated in tomato farming in Ghana. Their only problem is the weather condition. They depend on the measure of the weather. So why don't the government construct more dams, then assist them financially for them to produce tomato? Now this young man, the Tuareg, president of Burkina Faso, he said no, the export is enough. He is coming to can them for export purpose
Okay. So
you would not allow the natural tomatoes to be exported from this country to Ghana anymore.
Now, for traders like yourselves, what options do you have? Apart from Burkina Faso, where else could you possibly get tomatoes and bring them to Ghana for various homes? And what impact will this latest directive from the Burkinabe authorities have?
Apart from Burkina Faso, the sad aspect is they came to Ghana in our East region around the Tolon Dam, Navrongo, to learn how to plant tomato, how to grow tomato, and they extended it, and they took it as a very serious farming, and it has helped them. So it's up to our president and the agric minister to come out. They should give us the remedy how Ghanaians can get tomato to consume. Otherwise, we will keep on importing this, how do you call it, the flour and the color. All the canned tomatoes are not natural tomatoes. They are, it's becoming unbecoming. So it's a wake-up call.
Where will you get tomatoes from?
Unless Ghana here, we entered into the rainy season before our farmers can plant. Otherwise, there will be scarcity of tomatoes in Ghana, our motherland.
Okay, so beyond Burkina Faso, is there another country you could possibly get tomatoes from?
No way. No, Ghana, Burkina, it's like a neighbor. Majority of Moses in Burkina lives in Ghana. Majority of the Grushis around the Upper East, Katsina and Kana area. So they are like brothers. You can go to the Upper East region, somebody's sibling living in Burkina, and he's living in Ghana. But you can't get it in other countries.
Okay. Nana Janim, thank you. So it means the impact will be scarcity of tomatoes, which will influence and affect the pricing of the produce itself too.
It's not even going to be scarce. It will be very expensive because I'm of the view that there are certain people who are doing this German technology, the canopy farming. How many of them can do it? You understand? So the government, not that the Ghanaians are lazy. Ghanaians are eager to do it, to plant the tomato. But unfortunately, they need support. Moreover, Ghana tomato farmers, they need more of irrigation to water their fruit. They use the water to bear fruit. Without good weather, without water around the bed, you cannot plant tomatoes to survive.
Nana, thank you. Thank you so much for your time with us on the program.
My brother.
Nana Ajanim Boateng is a leading member of the Tomato Transporters and Traders Association, telling us about the impact the latest directive from Burkina Faso will have on the Ghanaian tomato economy. Let's take a listen to some tomato traders, how they reacted to this development.
Burkina government say, 16 for 2 years. That's the ending of March, ending of this month. On your be our Burkina Obi. Now, it was like a yam. Now, what they are eating tomatoes. Yes, yes, because you know my education from years. So after we done at the end, and I'm so government, John Mama dam. And this after we are, and this is our dam. We discussing when we say we are, if we are Ghana, and you know my education from years, ever can afford. And to be what is I say? 2 years time, I'm not working at Obi. This is to be any Ghana. This is a machine sim. As I'm to say Ghana.
Say Ghana penyon for. The me put to abane say. Say you ko fa won ho. Me hu say ntos nso e ba be ka ho kire say dodo no ayenya no. Say e betwa kra. Enti Ghana penyon for. mesra mo ni de mo nsori na yenya ntosi ni enye sa any 2 weeks no enya de Ghana ha ntosi ebi besi kuma Ghana ama obi anya biadie
enani 3 days ye bedru jom yete ya ana yenya ne nte yese Burkina president say o ma tomatoes for e ma Ghana bio e ma ai Burkina bio na so odru Burkina wana akwete ne ma na obeje woni ema ni nyina na wakwa akoyam enti e ma ye nuama enu wa mo so mo wo fie nyina ti eku ba adwom ha afede na asam na ya ahomete na enye ize kura enti asam no yanti ase ya so ye kamafo bia ye nim se ya de tu ye wurajo mama John Dramani Mahama animu a wadawo ma ubaba to Burkina president na woni na kama ye because see ya ho akodim ya start adwuma mfa nsa aka 2 months na nka yakwa awie ya ho akodim se bia te na obete so se de ye na ya hima ba akone kan te na obete so kwa na ya fa anema nkakra eno bebo ase se impromptu ya yanka bi shemu osema ye nsi pom akra na fa ne mabiem eba sa na oni ye ni ye.
The voices of some Ghanaian tomato traders, they're clearly disturbed by the latest development as Burkina Faso is banning the export of fresh tomatoes in a few weeks. My colleague Ibrahim Mubaka has been following the story. He's joining us. He's our Ashanti regional correspondent. He has been to the tomato market and he's joining us with some more update on this disturbing development. Ibrahim, thank you so much for joining us. Quite unpleasant news there. The tomato traders, like we heard, they are not happy. What more do we know?
Exactly, Crosby, especially when we live in a country which relies heavily on tomato imported from Burkina Faso, especially during the lean farming season. 90% of the tomatoes we consume in the country is from that part of the country. Because of the absence of irrigation facility, local farmers are unable to do all year round. And the traders are, like they rightly mentioned, warning of looming shortages and even possible surge in prices. They are saying that if alternative supplies are not secured quickly, then the country will be in a mess, because where they will get tomato is an issue that they are of concern. So in the interim, they do understand that the Burkina Faso government is trying to reduce reliance on raw exports, use their tomato for agro-processing sector. However, the timing is too short for them. So if at least the Ghana government will be able to sit down with the Burkina Faso government and negotiate for even 5 or 10% of the tomatoes they produce to be imported in the country, then that will be fine. While they also urge the government to invest more in irrigation facilities and also storage facilities so that local farmers will be able to do all year round farming. For them, they believe the local farmers have the capacity to produce, because usually you look at the season of tomato, we produce in excess. Some even are left to rot. But because we do not have irrigation facilities, we are unable to store these tomatoes. And for that matter, if you are able to do all year round farming, Palugu Dam fix other dams at Akomada and also other areas, then they believe that we wouldn't have a cause an issue to be worried about. But for now, the fear is that if we do not do something urgently about this, then in the coming weeks there will be shortage of tomatoes, and even if you get, the prices will be very high.
And it brings me to my next question, Ibrahim, and if you can be brief for me. We know that these stories, they travel very fast and they affect the market in real time. So far, are we seeing any price increases as we speak?
For now, no, because even after this morning, I saw some of the trucks coming in. If you read the statement, it has given 2-week window, and for that matter, within the next 2 weeks, we are likely going to get tomato the normal way, but maybe after the 2 weeks, that's when we will begin to see severe impact on this. But for now, as we speak, Prices are very stable, but we don't know what will happen tomorrow.
Ibrahim, thank you so much. Ibrahim Obakar is Ashanti regional correspondent speaking to us there. This is still the Midday News here on 3FM 92.7 live, also on all our social media platforms at 3FM 927. Let's do some other stories. Government says it is registering all small-scale miners and mining groups in the country aimed at formalizing and regulating the small-scale mining sector. The initiative to be undertaken by the Responsible Cooperative Mining and Skills Development Program and the Minerals Commission seeks to put the mining firms into recognized cooperatives to ensure compliance to regulatory frameworks to align with national laws. But how effective is this in helping to deal with the illegal mining menace? Let's speak to the National Coordinator of the Responsible Cooperative Mining and Skills Development Program, Mausi Mawinyafia is joining us on the program. Mausi, thank you for joining us. This registration period and the entire registration itself, talk to us. What is it supposed or what is it expected to achieve?
Okay. Good afternoon to you, to your listeners as well. Now, the essence of this program is basically to help us create a database of all the people who are engaged in the artisanal mining space, and to be able to help them put them in cooperatives. So first of all, the Minerals Commission has a database of all these individuals, and then for us at ComStep, it allows us to be able to put them in cooperatives and help them go through the formalization process. Now, we understand that at the heart of the whole conversation around illegal mining and all the activities that are plaguing the sector is a conversation of livelihood. People are basically looking for jobs and livelihood opportunities. And of course, with gold price skyrocketing as we see, as we've seen over the last few months, it's an incentive for anybody who wants to get into the space to want to, get into it. Now, while people are getting into the mining space, we understand that this is an economically viable venture, and so government is not against mining. However, because they do not engage in this within a certain framework, or they are engaging in it haphazardly, that is why we are seeing the devastation that we are seeing today. That is why our forest reserves are being decimated.
Right.
That's why our water bodies are being polluted and things like that. So for us, what we want to do is be able to bring these people together, put them under a certain umbrella, and help them to do the mining within a certain framework that we have designed and approved. And then it allows us to be able to have some control, so that we do not get people getting into security zones, for instance, going into forest reserves, going into our water bodies, going into habitats, going to the roadsides to go and, cause distraction. But then they can still be able to do the mining and do it well and responsibly.
I see. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ama Mausi, for engaging with us. Ama Mausi is the National Coordinator of the Responsible Cooperative Mining and Skills Development. To other stories this afternoon, workers of the Ghana Railways Company, they are picketing at the Ministry of Transport over the non-payment of their salaries for over a year. The workers say they have gone 13 months without pay from February 2025 to February 2026, leaving hundreds of families in severe hardship, despite the availability of about 20.6 million cedis from the sale of obsolete railway materials, which they say could settle 10 months of the arrears. The unions say the funds have not been released as was directed by President John Dramani Mahama in October 2025. Now, after issuing an ultimatum that expired on Wednesday following a proceeding on 4th March 2026, the National Labour Commission, the workers are now taking action to demand immediate payment. Our reporter Samuel Yabo Adams joins us on phone for more. Samuel, thank you for joining us. Good afternoon to you. What more can you report on this development?
Okay, thank you very much, Crosby. What started as a peaceful protest at the Ministry of Transport got so intense and heated with chants and aggressive demand for payment of arrears. Now, members of the Ghana Railway Workers Union became much more agitated upon realization that the Minister of Transport, Joseph Bukari Nipe, wasn't around. Their message is quite simple. Their arrears, their calling should be paid immediately. Let's listen to them share how the unpaid arrears is affecting them.
We'll listen to that sound shortly, but talk to us, Samuel. How far have engagements between them and the authorities been?
Okay, so the union spoke with the group was met by the Chief Director for the Ministry of Transport, William Carty. who assured them that their issues will be addressed by next week, as there are talks with the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Transport to secure the arrears. But the group is saying that they are not really satisfied with the development, and they are still hoping that by next week they will see development, and if they don't, then they will do another picketing.
I see. Samuel, stay on the line for me. Let's now take a listen to Benjamin Ashen on what the union is asking. Then we can ask you whether they've had any official response to their grievances. Here is Benjamin Ashen speaking.
It has been confirmed by themselves that there's 20.6 million in their account. And as of December, up to now, we are not seeing anything. Workers keep on suffering. Workers are dying. Their family members are dying because of it. Just last week, as I was saying, 3 workers died. Why? They needed 500. But due to delay of sending the money, we lost our 3 workers. We are asking them, this is not new, the money is there. So we want to ask them, where is the money?
The money is there. What do you think is the reason for the delay?
We don't know. They have to tell us. We don't know. We don't know what they have done with the money. We don't know whether, but what we have had with them, the meetings we have had with them as the leader of the workers, what they told us is 20.6 million in the account. They came to Saturday last 2 weeks that the money is there. The Ministry of Transport and our authority, Railway Authority, came to Saturday. They informed us massively that when we had a management meeting with the ministry and our authority, they informed us the 20.6 is there.
That's the voice of Benjamin Asuman of the Railway Workers Union there. Samuel is still on the line with me. Samuel, so what has been the response from officials to their grievance?
So the group was hoping to meet the Minister for Transport, but he wasn't around. And then the one who stepped in was the Chief Director of the Ministry. But he was certain that next week the group will see some development, but yet still the Ghana Railway Workers Union are not satisfied with our response, and then they will want a certain development that will calm them down, because according to them, 3 of their members have passed on because they didn't have money to foot their medical bills. So they really need the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Transport to come together to solve their problems for them.
The process has begun, and the process will work through the end. We do believe that by the end of next week, I was thinking that by the end of next week, we do believe we will receive some kind of response from the Ministry of Finance, and it will be based on that we can determine that by this date or next date they will be paid. After all, we were at the Labour Commission yesterday, and you heard them. You heard our responses to your issues you raised. And they gave us up to the end of April. We do believe that we will end this issue before April. So please, you take heart. We understand your situation. We understand the situation. We appreciate what you are doing.
The voice of William Kate, the Chief Director of the Ministry. We'll get back to Samuel for some more details on this development as and when we get some more information. Moving on, President John Dramani Mahama has launched the Resetting Ghana tour in the Bono region, where he ceremoniously broke ground for a new 24-hour economy market in Domahinkro and inspected ongoing works on the Jenejene Sampa Road, a key project under the Big Push agenda, signaling a major commitment to regional economic transformation. This is a report by Claude Kumi Abisa.
In a ceremonial event in Domahinkro, President Mahama laid the groundwork for a new 24-hour economy market. The initiative aims to boost local economic activities and improve the livelihoods of residents.
Baby, I'll be see Jebia, Utimi who said, Emma, near friend economic activity, Ecoso. And yet, you bear 24-hour markets. Ghana districts be
we know whenever there are markets, economic activities improve. So we decided to build 24-hour economy market in all the districts in the country. We have 261 districts in Ghana, and none will be left out. And so today, we are here to break grounds to start the Doma market.
Now, yes, see, Yasha say any Domahinkro there.
Speaking at the groundbreaking event, President Mahama reflected on the economic struggle faced when he took office, highlighting that high inflation has given way to improved stability in key sectors. He emphasized that recent government measures have started to yield positive outcomes, describing a gradual return to growth and resilience in the economy.
Metimi akacho ene say macro economy no are stable. Ene nana menoka say inflation natia about former about 3.3%. You see, they know on also ya branch ene.
I can boldly say that today the macro economy is stable. Today, inflation has dropped to 3.3%. The cedi has also gained power. It has overpowered dollar, pounds, and euro.
Cedi kane ube here 16 nakoto dollar bako. Ube here 10.7. Now when your dollar bako.
During the tour, the president also inspected crucial infrastructure development on the Jene Sampa Road, part of his administration's Big Push agenda.
That's the report by my colleague Claude Kumi Abisa, ending the midday news here on 3FM 92.7. There's more news on our website, 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby Annan. Business News is up next with Bismarck Awusa. Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Awusa. Coming up this afternoon, Ghana's producer inflation slows to 1.4% in February, despite rising mining costs. Also, Energy Ministry to launch public portal for power purchase agreements. Will bring you details. Plus, Trade Minister hints national agribusiness policy nears cabinet approval.
Our national agribusiness policy is about to receive cabinet approval, signaling the highest level of political will to drive transformation of our agricultural and agribusiness sector.
Details of our headline stories and others shortly. Please stay. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. Producer price inflation in Ghana eased slightly in February 2026, signaling slower growth in ex-factory prices, even as cost pressures persisted in key sectors like mining. According to data from the Ghana Statistical Service, the year-on-year producer price inflation for all goods and services stood at 1.4% in February 2026. This means that on average, the prices producers received for goods and services increased by 1.4% compared to the same period last year. There is more in the following 3 Business News Desk report.
The figure represents a slight decline of 0.2 percentage points from the January 2026 rate, indicating a modest easing in producer price pressures. The mining and quarrying sector, which carries the largest weight in the index at 43.7%, recorded an increase in inflation from 3.7% in January to 4.1% in February. In contrast, The manufacturing sector, accounting for 35% of the index, saw deeper deflation. Inflation dropped further from negative 2.3% in January to negative 2.9% in February. Similarly, prices in the transport and storage sub-sector continued to decline, falling from negative 6.9% to negative 8.6% over the same period. The Ghana Statistical Service is advising consumers to shift spending towards goods and services with more stable prices to protect their purchasing power. Meanwhile, government has been urged to closely monitor price trends to prevent a potential rebound in inflation.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report on producer price inflation, slowing to 1.4% in February despite rising mining costs. To some other stories, government is set to introduce a digital platform to publish all power purchase agreements in a major move aimed at boosting transparency and accountability in Ghana's energy sector. This was announced by the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Abdullahi Jinapor. According to the minister, the initiative is a key part of ongoing reforms to improve transparency and rebuild public trust in the management of the country's energy resources. There is more in the following report.
Speaking during a working visit by members of the Open Government Partnership Caucus to the ministry, the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Abdullahi Jinapor, stated that the new system will allow anyone to easily access and download power agreements. The visit forms part of parliamentary oversight to assess Ghana's compliance with transparency commitments under its National Action Plan. Leading the delegation was the Vice Chair of the caucus and Member of Parliament for Achimota, Alexander Akwesi Akwa, who underscored the need for stronger disclosure practices in the power sector. He revealed that proposals are being considered to expand mandate of the Public Utility Regulatory Commission to include the publications of PPAs. He further added that the ministry already submits such agreement to Parliament for approval, adding that recent regulatory measures further demonstrate government's commitment to strengthening governance in the sector. The planned portal is expected to address long-standing concerns about secrecy in the power sector, contracting to inefficiencies and higher costs for consumers. With the new digital platform, the ministry aims to institutionalize openness, reduce risk linked to opaque agreement, and ensure better value for the Ghanaian public.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report on the Energy Ministry launching public portal for power purchase agreements. This is still Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. Outside some other stories, the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry has announced that Ghana's National Agribusiness Policy is nearing cabinet approval, describing it as a major step toward transforming the country's agricultural and agribusiness sector. The Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejari, says government is taking a major step towards strengthening Ghana's agricultural value chain with the imminent approval of National Agribusiness Policy.
I am proud to announce that our National Agribusiness Policy is about to receive cabinet approval, signaling the highest level of political will to drive transformation of our agricultural and agribusiness sector. This policy provides strategic framework that underpins everything we are doing here today, and it ensures that the momentum generated at this fair translates into lasting systemic change. We are aligned with the medium-term development plan for 2026 to 2029, Feed the Industry Program, and the Presidential Initiative in Agriculture and Agribusiness. At the continental level, we are advancing the Africa Continental Free Trade Area agenda and delivering on our commitments under the African Union Agenda 2063.
You heard the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejari. Government of Ghana returned to the domestic debt market this Thursday, March 19, 2026, with an ambitious target to raise 5.005 billion cedis through its weekly treasury bill auction. This auction featured the full range of short-term instruments, including the 91-day 182-day and 364-day tenors. There is more in the following 3 business news desk report.
The move comes at a critical time as the Bank of Ghana's Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, recently slashed the policy rate to 14%, a move intended to signal lower borrowing costs across the economy. Market analysts are closely watching this particular auction to see if Treasury bill yields will reserve the downward trend to alignment with the new policy rate of 14%. The wide disparity between the central bank's benchmark rate and T-bill yields has historically acted a disincentive for private sector investment. Government's ability to hit its 5.005 billion cedis target will serve as a key litmus test for domestic investor confidence and liquidity levels following the central bank's shift toward a more accommodative monetary stance.
And that was a 3 business news desk report on government of Ghana returning to domestic market to borrow 5.005 billion cedis via treasury bills today. Before we go, a leading African Aid for Trade organization is warning that the full benefits of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, may not be realized unless women and young entrepreneurs are fully integrated into the trading ecosystem. The agreement aims to create a single market to boost trade, investment, and economic integration across the continent.
The organization says while the AfCFTA presents a historic opportunity to transform Africa's trade landscape, the exclusion of key groups could limit its overall impact. It notes that empowering women and young people to actively participate in cross-border trade is critical to achieving inclusive economic growth under the agreement. Speaking at a multi-stakeholder engagement organized by the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Director for the West Africa and AfCFTA at Trademark Africa, Hiret Gayi, said the forum provides a platform for stakeholders to identify practical solutions to accelerate women's economic empowerment across the continent.
We foresee that while the African Continental Free Trade Area presents an opportunity to reshape Africa's trade landscape, if women and young entrepreneurs are not fully integrated into the trading environment, the promise of AfCFTA will remain a dream. Today's multi-stakeholder engagement is serving as the platform we need to identify practical solutions to accelerate women's economic empowerment.
First Vice President of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Emilia Isiakwa, also stressed the need to better equip women to enable them contribute fully to the country's economic growth.
Empowering women economically is not simply about fairness. It is about unlocking the full productive potential of our economy. When women are empowered, businesses grow, families prosper, and communities become resilient. As the chamber representing the private sector, GNCCI remains committed to championing policies and programs that support women-owned enterprises and promote inclusive economic development.
First Vice President of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Emilia Isiakwa, ending Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. I will serve for more business stories. Please check out our website, 3news.com. A band blend is next with Black Rasta. Please stay.